The Alpha Sessions with Ron Laver.
I'm with Emma Moore today, and she's joined us on Alpha Sessions for a chat and to play some of her music. Hello, Emma. How are you?
Hi, Roy. I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Struggling
Good.
on. Uh,
Yeah.
we've just been discussing before we came on air. We got a nice sunny day today, but it's playing havoc with our cameras. So
Just a ghost. And there's nothing. I've got all of my, I'm sat in front of my window, all of my blinds are shut. I've got a tiny ring light on that's on really warm lighting. And I'm still just translucent. But this room is so dark. A
it gives you a sort of mystique.
mystique. It'd be cool if I was into like goth metal. I'd be looking so on brand right now.
I like it. Okay, well let's start off, and I'll ask you how you sort of first started in music.
I was obsessed from being super small. Like I remember um, growing up watching things like Oliver and Annie and The Sound of Music. So to me, I just thought everybody communicated in song. Like it was totally normal for me to just have people bursting into song and dance. And when people didn't do it in real life, I was like, oh, this is weird.
Yeah, I love that in musicals when they just burst into song, and you think,
I
oh,
love
and
it.
they've got a 15-piece orchestra suddenly appeared somewhere.
Absolutely love it. I really wanted to work in musical theatre when I was a teenager.
You did,
Yeah, but I'm a terrible dancer, like really, truly terrible.
yeah.
So it just wasn't going to open up any doors for me.
So what sort of age were you when you first? You say from a very early age you were into singing.
Always constantly singing around the house. And I think I was 11 when I was just at the end of primary school when I was getting my first singing teacher, but it was classical and it was all very
Mm.
rules and it was fine. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed what I learned, but I think I was a little young to be studying it. I was quite young for my age. Um, so then I just, we've always had guitars in the house and we had a piano. So it was just, I just wanted to find my way, but I was never very good at sticking to lessons, like learning theory. I'm terrible at reading sheet music. Um, just I never really stuck at that side of it, but I always wanted to create and always just wanted noise. I just wanted to be good at everything straight away. I didn't really have a lot of patience.
So do you come from a musical family, or you said they had, you had a piano and guitar in the house? Were your parents musical?
My mum is, she's really into music. She was the first one to get a guitar. So I was quite young when she got that and she started learning to play and she's always had music on around the house. So yeah, in that sense, like no one in my family does it professionally or like anything close to that, but they've always loved it and there's always been singing and music.
Mm. So when did you actually start thinking, well, this is something I want to do, and perhaps writing your own songs? When did that start for you?
It was all kind of late or a lot later than like people I know. There are people younger than me doing amazing, but I really, like I said, wanted to work in musical theatre. So from about 15, my entire world just became about singing, dancing, acting, and trying to work towards that theatre career. And I did that up to 21 when I graduated my performing arts degree. And then I came home and I was still wanting to work in musical theatre. That's when I found my singing teacher, who is phenomenal and just opened up so many avenues for me. And so I was working with her for a couple of years. I moved away to Manchester because I thought that would be easier for theatre. And then I came back to Blackpool at 23, 24, 23 or 24, somewhere around there, and literally started writing songs because I was so bad at guitar because I hadn't touched one for years. So, I was trying to learn songs and they were really easy songs and I just couldn't pick them up. And I was like, do you know what? I'll just make my own up and no one will know that I've got it wrong because I'll just be like, that's how it's meant to sound.
Good
Like a proper
move.
child. It was so ridiculous.
I
So I
like that.
kind of, it's true though. And I just started writing kind of accidentally and then very, very quickly fell in love with it. I was like, this
Yeah.
is the best thing in the world. So it kind of all evolved. I never really set out to make a record or to be a songwriter. I was really happy just singing. That's all. I was quite happy singing other people's music until I started releasing my own, and now I hate singing other people's songs.
Did you perform in musical theatre at all? Did you do much of that, having trained for it?
I did some amateur and some am stuff and some like semi-pro stuff when I was in Manchester, just really small shows. I never really gave it the chance to do it professionally.
Mm.
So it's been a long time. I think the last show I did was Rent the musical that was in Manchester, and I think that was 2014, 2015. It was the last show I did that was all theatre based. So
You were singing musicals, you were singing anybody's songs, and
yeah.
then you started writing. Did you start right away thinking, I'm going to do country? Had you been influenced by country up to that stage?
I'd always listened to it. So my mum is a really big fan of Laurie Morgan, Tammy Wynette, Dolly. And I was born in 91. So I grew up in the golden age of kind of women in country.
Mm.
So I had those on around the house as I was younger. Blue by Leanne Rimes is one of the first songs I remember singing. And then in 98, I was like 7, 8, and Dixie Chicks released their debut album, and Shania Twain released Come On Over, which just went crazy. And those two albums were huge for me. Everyone else was kind of getting overexcited about the Spice Girls, and I was a big Spice Girls fan, but then I would just be like, Mom, can we put Dixie Chicks on now? And so that influence was always there, but writing country music was never really a decision, or even a conscious thought. I just wrote kind of what I knew, and obviously 3 chords gets you so far in country music, and I could barely strum the guitar at this point. So I think they just fell into that sound. I was telling stories with really simple music, and it became country music.
We're waiting for some new music from you at the moment, but
Yeah.
you've got some songs you're going to do for us today. And before we start talking about what's likely to be released soon, and I know there is some stuff on the way, I want to talk to you about a track that you've been playing certainly over the years, but never to date released it as a single or part of an album. A track called Blinded.
Yeah, so fun. That was one of the first songs that I wrote about quite a few different people that kind of all amalgamated into one song, but it's all about friends. Like, there's nothing about me really personally in it, which was nice because I write a lot about my life. But I was just looking at a lot of my friends, too many of my friends in these really disastrous relationships. And they're like, oh, isn't it the best thing ever? And I'm just like, no, it's awful. What is going on? Like, why can you not see this? And I had a few that were in on again, off again relationships, and I'd started off being really supportive, like, oh, I'm so sorry you've broken up, and what can I do? And let's go out and have some fun. And then the on and off again so bloody much. By the end of it, I'm just like, I don't care anymore. Like, I'm not picking up these pieces anymore. You need to sort yourself out. So Blinded is actually kind of a really harsh song. It's just covered up by this really fun melody and really fun track. But I think I'm being quite harsh in it, but that's me. I have a lot to say, and I'm not really shy about it. So Blinded got quite straight to the point.
He keeps secrets you seem to stay. He keeps you hidden, you see prophecy. He keeps lying, but you still see honesty. He makes decisions, you just agree. You're blinded by a love that you created in your mind. He can't do you any wrong. You're blinded by a dream and by a fantasy. You fell in love with someone you'll never be. He says he's broke, you will always pay. He says bite your tongue and you obey. He keeps leaving, but he never stays away. He's way too happy in the bed you both made. You're blinded by a love that you created in your mind. He can't do you any wrong. this need you have for saving your body fire. Love that you created in your mind. He can't do you any wrong. Your body fire, driven by a fantasy. You fell in love with someone who'll never be.
The Alpha Sessions with Ron Laver.
You did a degree in songwriting, didn't you?
Yeah, so that was my master's. Yeah.
Where did you do that?
So that was at a really tiny school in London called ICMP, or for its more pretentious title, the Institute of Contemporary Music Performance, which I can never be bothered to say. And it's a far cooler school than the title maybe leads to.
Did you find that a useful experience for you? You know, did it improve? Did it help? Did it answer questions about songwriting that you needed to understand more about?
I probably opened more questions than it closed, but in a really good way. Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. Just to go to that audition and someone say, yeah, you could get a master's in this. Like, that was a really big thing for me. Because when I auditioned, I'd only been writing songs for 3 years, and a lot of people that I know have been writing 10 plus. So it gave me a boost. It gave me a little bit of reassurance that I was maybe had some kind of talent for this, or that I could do this, and that I could get better. And then on the course was just mind blowing, because I had only really thrown myself into writing country Americana feeling music, and only really explored that properly, and a little bit of musical theatre. So suddenly I'm in a classroom with a hip hop spoken word artist and singer-songwriters and jazz pianists and like rock guitarists and all these like super cool contemporary pop writers. And I'm just like, oh, this is a lot. This is weird. But it was weird in all of the best ways.
That must have been a huge experience for you. I mean, mixing with all those people and listening to their ideas and looking how they construct music and things like that.
It was absolutely fascinating, because obviously all these different genres have really different priorities. And then our part of the course was to be there to have your song critiqued every week and to critique other people. So I'd be looking at these stories where these really intricate melodies and harmonics are being used, and I'd be like, yeah, but the story makes no sense. Because I can only come from like a story place. And I'm like, it's so cool that you know all this music, and this melody is super interesting and super rich. But then I don't know what's going on. I don't know why this music, I would always take it back to story. And then we had, like I said, incredibly gifted musicians that would just always be like, oh, you could just do this with this chord and it would make this really interesting. Or this melody could just go to all these new places. And you're like, I would never have thought of that. And it really does open your mind up to exploring other genres and letting yourself kind of play around with different things. And I bravely attempted one musical theatre song, and it was the hardest thing I ever did in my life. It's just insane. I think I spent 4 days writing the 30-second intro. It was not fun. I mean, I like it. It's really pretty, but it sounds very simple. And
you would have had no, I mean, was that just something out of the blue? I mean, you would have had no story to hook that into, would you? Nope. You know, if you're writing a musical, you know, you've got a story progression and it's going somewhere. Yeah. And you're gonna. I mean, I know they do take songs and put them into musicals sometimes because they fit, you know, or they make them fit. But that, I can imagine that's quite hard, because you know you've got a 3-minute plus scenario, and you don't know where it's come from, and you don't know where I don't know whether that makes it easier or harder.
It was so weird, because I was writing it. I was sat at the piano. I don't really write on piano very often, so I was sat on the piano, and I was like, I'm not getting this. So I set my room up like a stage. It was so dark, and I just had a little spotlight on my piano and some candles around, and I had the entire scene laid out in my head. And I had the movement, and I had the tracks laid out for people, and I had I knew exactly what this scene looked like. It was just trying to write something with these. I wanted to write something slightly Cole Porter-esque. That was my goal. Ridiculous goal for someone who plays like 6 chords on a guitar. But that was what I wanted to. The point was to challenge yourself. So I was like, okay, go big or go home. And I just had all these beautiful things, like the look of it in my head, but I could not get those chords on the piano at all. It was really, but it's fun. It turned out well, I think.
That's good. Well, it was a good experience. And I'm pleased
Really
to hear
good.
your guitaring has moved from 3 chords to 6.
Yeah, rocking it now.
That's progress.
Yeah, unlimited with a capo. I mean, that is like my best friend.
Oh, dear. Okay, so we mentioned earlier you've got some new music on the way, and but it's hidden to a lot of us behind a sort of project you're running called the Blinded Experience. Tell us something about that. What is the Blinded Experience?
So I wanted to bring back a little bit of excitement about releases. Kind of like I still remember getting excited about albums or even singles coming out and like saving up pocket money and going to Asda or HMV or Woolworths or anywhere to physically buy the CD, and it was so exciting. And I love the conversations with my parents about them like saving up to buy 7-inch singles and like recording the radio onto tape, and all the arguments that if someone dared speak while you were recording the top 40. Like I just really love all that. I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's so true though, isn't it?
Yeah, oh,
it's
yeah,
so true.
Absolutely. And my mum would walk in the room, you'd go, no!
Get out!
Do you
It's
want
my
some
favourite song!
coffee?"
We need to leave the house. Go.
Oh,
Yeah.
dear.
So I loved all that. And I feel like as great as it is to have all this music accessible, like we're missing that. So I digitally created a space. So it was a website that I built that had a page per song on the EP that I've got coming up. And so anyone that had joined my little like mailing list, which I've been growing for a little while, we have a really fun community on Facebook called The Hanger. And anyone who joined that could experience this album totally free and like 3 months before anyone else. So I made little visualizer videos for the songs. All the lyrics were there so they could read along. What else did I put in there? And then I had I made these last year. So these are like little vinyl coasters.
All right.
With a sticker on. So
Yeah.
then I brought these back for the experience, and I made a design of these so that every song had a recommended drink to go with it.
Oh, great.
As a little serving, and then each song had a playlist of songs that had inspired it, and that was the same every day. And then also every day we had different content for different songs. It was just really fun to build. Like there's one of them has a karaoke track so people could sing along. I've put the guitar chords in for a few so people could play along. They've seen all the artwork and the photography for the EP and little stories behind the EP in the day. And then I made a really cool thing for one of the tracks. I filled the track with every stage of the recording process. So it starts with my iPhone recording when I was writing it. And then like a little work tape that I sent off to the studio, and then the drum track, the bass comes in. We've got the steel is on that one, some guitars, then the vocals, and then the mix, and then the master. So you could hear the progress of the track.
Oh, that's really interesting.
There's loads of little things like that.
So you say all you have to do is sign up to your mailing list to be part of that. So you're not charging anyone for all these extras?
Nope.
Because I mean that's very much what you're doing there. It seems to me very much what people do in things like Patreon, where you know, you give me some money and I'll give you some extras. You seem to have given a whole lot of extras there for no charge, just to know that they're people that are interested in your music. Is that side of things, the fact that you want people to like your music and to be interested in it, more important than I want to earn a living out of this? I mean,
quite. I mean, I didn't skimp on this EP. So it would be very nice to make some money back from it eventually. But I see it as I'm not in music for 5 minutes of fame or a quick viral video or to be around for a year. Like I want to build this into something that lasts forever. So for me, it just feels like like a no-brainer to invest in people that are with me right now at the beginning.
Yeah.
I say beginning, I've been making music for 5 years. But I feel like this year it's really changed the way that I'm going about it.
Yeah. I mean, it has for everyone, hasn't it?
Yeah, completely. And at the end of the day, it took a long time to build. It took a lot of hours because I'm not a web designer. You know, I had to figure it all out, but I had the time. So all it cost me was time and an extra fee a month for the website, which I'm quite happy to pay. My hope is that people feel like they know me a little bit more, that they know the music a little bit more, that they're excited, and then maybe at the end they do want to buy the CD, they do want to buy the t-shirt that goes with it, you know, and that way I can start to pay back the recording and things like that and all the other things that go into it. The list is quite scary. I've just been doing my finances this week and it's not fun. But I don't care. Like, I would, if nothing comes back from it, I still love this EP so much. I'm really proud of it. And I don't think I've ever been this proud of anything I've ever done. So if no money comes back, then fine. I'm quite happy to spend it and put it out there.
That's so good. When will this be released to the general public now then? Are you planning to do that, release it and put it on Spotify and iTunes and all the rest of it, you know?
Yeah, it'll be out. So we've set the release date for the 7th of May, which I don't think anyone knows yet. So there you go. The whole EP will be out on the 7th.
Okay, so it's going to be an EP.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is there a lead single from the EP?
Yeah, I'm going to be putting out a single from it on the 5th of March.
Right. And what's that called?
It's called Husbands or Kids.
Right, on that.
It's kind of the most funny. It's a little light-hearted way into the EP, which does get progressively heavier. But basically, there was a point a couple of years ago where the only guys that were interested in me were like 10 years younger than me, or already in really committed, like engaged or married or in serious relationships. And I'm like, no, thanks, but no. So I was talking to one of my friends one day. I was like, it's like my only choice are husbands or kids right now. And then I was like, oh, that's the title. So I just wrote it, and it's just one of those like laugh or cry moments. You could be like, oh, why is no one around? Or you could just be like, well, this is kind of funny actually. So it's just really lighthearted, tongue-in-cheek, a little bit kind of sassy and like, no thanks. But it's just fun. And it was never going to be a single, which is really interesting to me. So like this time 3 months ago, if you were like, so you're going to be putting out Husbands or Kids, I'd be like, no, I'm really not. But when the record was made, it really stood out production wise. It just sounds really good and it sounds really fun. And then it was going to be like track 4 or 5 on the EP, kind of just buried, like sandwiched in the middle. And it ends up, it's the first track. It's the track that opens the entire record. So that made it a way to kind of welcome people in. And it was obviously with it being the first track, it was the first day of the blinded experience and the feedback was just phenomenal. So it became the single out of nowhere, which is, it's cool. I like things that are like a little bit spontaneous.
Husbands or kids, I'll take option 3. 7-year itch is creeping in, and he's been spending time wondering if he rushed in. He's settling down. Sparks are flying, and he's reminded that he's still young. He's still got it. He makes no secret we could get along. Husbands or kids, I take option 3. Too young, too sweet, or complicated, or unavailable, feeling jaded. I'm no tick off the list of somebody's side piece. Tell me this ain't all there is. Husbands or kids, baby boy's got a teenage crush he thinks is in love doesn't know enough to know that there's so much he don't know. Trying to tell me we could be a match, and I'm so flattered he thinks that, but he can't even take me for a train. Husbands or kids, I'll take option 3. Too young, too sweet, or complicated, or unavailable, feeling jaded. I'm no take off the list of somebody's side piece. Tell me this ain't all there is. Husbands or kids. All I'm asking for is that he not be taken or running late for school at his mama's basement. Old enough to know how to treat a woman, and smart enough to know one's the way to go. Husbands or kids, I'll take option 3. Too young, too sweet, or complicated, or unavailable, feeling jaded. I'm no tick off a list of somebody's side piece. Tell me this ain't all there is. Husbands or kids.
The Alpha Sessions with Ron Laver.
And I understand you're involved in something, or you use something called virtual management.
Oh yeah, I was in a program that was a couple of years ago that was run by a woman called Anna Russell, and so she basically teaches artists how to self-manage and what the manager's role is. So for anyone that's really not sure, like her program was a really great resource, but it's been about 18 months I think now since I've been in that. Another one that I've been following is a company called Indepreneur, which teaches musicians how to sustainably be independent musicians rather than chasing a label. So a lot of the blinded experience actually came from Indepreneur. It's a program idea that they came up with. You just have to find a way to make it you have to find the content. And that's the tricky part. Like, they give you the idea and then it's like, here's 1% of an idea, go run with it, and it's like, okay, cool. But the initial idea was theirs. They really have kind of opened my eyes a lot more to why we chase certain things in the industry and what it all comes down to. Like, a lot of it is just vanity metrics, and I was one of those people who was like, oh, I need more Facebook likes, I need more Instagram followers, I need more Spotify streams. But at the end of the day, very few of those things actually bring in a revenue. So they kind of helped me get out of that purely creative space and help me kind of half brain it between creative and business. So that's been a really strange but really beneficial learning curve that I'm hoping eventually will like pay off in the long run.
It seems to me that a lot of people feel it is all social media. It's, you've got to get maximum views, you've got to get maximum follows and things like that. And I find what you said there quite interesting, because social media is such a it's such a workload if you're going to do it properly.
You know what? It is. And I have moments where I'm like, I'm going to take this seriously and I'm going to be really good at it, and then I'm just like, I don't enjoy it at all. Apart from, so I've been running, I quite like being on Instagram. I find that the easiest platform to be on just because it's so visual, and I find that a lot easier to work in. So it's my birthday in a couple of days and I've been counting down. So I'm turning 30, so I've been doing 30 days to 30. So like daily posting, which is really hard. Like, trying to come up with something every day is just ridiculous. I don't know how people, I honestly don't know how people do it. So that has been more fun. But now, rather than like chasing followers, and I see so much bad promotion being the word, online now, and I just don't want to be in that. I like to do things the right way. I think it's got to a point where a lot of people just see numbers and they forget that there are people attached to those numbers. And I'm really trying not to lose sight of the fact that every single one of those ticks or likes or hearts or comments is actually coming from a person. Like, I really don't want to forget that. So that's what I'm trying to focus on, and use social media more as just like a gallery, just like here's a little deep dive if you actually want to get to know me a little bit better, rather than I'm going to go viral, because the likelihood of that happening is so minute. And that fame, for want of a better word, doesn't last very long. And it usually doesn't help a long-term business either. So I'm really trying to focus on like things that are more important.
Yeah, I think that's really sensible.
Thank you. Hopefully it pays off. I mean, I may just get hidden
Yeah.
by all the lip filler selfies and
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever's on TikTok these days.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not cool enough anymore. I'm too old.
How do you think I feel? So what's you got planned for the future, as much as you can plan for the future at the moment? I know before you did you actually do the Long Road Festival?
Yeah.
And so that was before lockdown, and you appeared
nice and early
on the Under the Apple Tree stage.
Yeah, that was such a big deal for me. It's still one of my favorite days, and that was actually the first Long Road. So that was 2018,
Right?
But that was one of the best days, and I still remember like getting the email that like, oh, we want you to play Long Road, and I was like, I was about to go into the theatre actually. With one of my friends. I work at a theatre as well, so this was the first show I was seeing in years where I was going to sit down for a musical, because I stand through all of them. I'm an usher. So it was I was really excited. And then we're just about to go into the theatre and my phone's pinging and I'm just like, oh, don't look. And then I see the email and it says BBC and I'm like, I should probably read this. Like, this could be good. And it was the invite to play Long Road, and I had to sit, and the show was literally about to start. So I just had to like sit there in this musical, and it really wasn't like the best show. And I was just like wanting to burst with excitement, and then having to sit through this really long first act being like, I just want to ring people. I need to let my band know this is the coolest thing ever. So it's a great day. I loved it.
You mentioned your band there. So do you normally perform with a band, or do you sometimes do sort of like acoustic gigs on your own? Is it a mix of both?
Yeah, it's a mix. I still play more on my own purely for financial reasons. Like, we don't get paid enough to take a band out to most shows. And I think every band show I've played has come at like financially at a loss, but it's been a great experience. And it's not black and white, like this gig makes money and this gig doesn't. Like, I've realized we can't look at things like that anymore. And also my band are based in Chester and I'm in Blackpool. So that's a big trip. So it's a 140-mile round trip for every band rehearsal.
Did they come to you or do you go to them?
No, I go to them.
Guess there's less petrol spent that way, isn't there?
Less, yeah, exactly. And, you know, they're the ones doing me a favor, really. I pay them as much as I can, as often as I can, but it's not enough. They do it because they love to play. And, you know, they like my music and, you know, we become friends. And I would like to be making a lot more and give them a lot more eventually. That's the goal anyway.
So were they a ready formed band that you found?
No, there was a slow process.
Right.
I went through loads of guitar players in my town of Blackpool and there was no fit. So I ended up contacting Tom, who's my acoustic guitar player, because we went to college together. He's originally from Blackpool. I hadn't spoken to him for a long time, maybe 8-9 years or whatever, but I just remembered he played really well and he really loved country music, and that's what I was looking for, because I just couldn't find anyone who actually enjoyed this kind of music, and that was starting to become a problem. So I was like, look, I know I live like forever away and you probably don't remember me, but is there any chance you want to like maybe play guitar for me every now and then? I'll come to you for the rehearsals. So I just drove over to Chester and we started playing, and it was really easy and really fun. And also he's got the most beautiful singing voice, like really stunning. So I was like, oh, like little heart eyes going to think of the harmonies and think of all the things that we could do, different songs that we could now do.
Yeah.
And that we could put in a set. So that was great. So, and eventually then I just started meeting more musicians from Chester, because I was like, well, if you're here, it's easier to just have you guys all in one place. But, you know, we saw each other once last year, one band rehearsal in Tom's kitchen, and there was only 3 of us. So I don't know what state the band is in right now, but we'll get there. We'll get back.
Let's hope they're still waiting for you.
What a segue.
I mean,
yes.
I guess they can't be doing anything either. So it's not like they're going to be off playing with someone else or playing their own gigs.
They'll never musically leave me so far, but they all have their own projects on the go as well, and some of them have managed to stay working in their day jobs for different things that they do. So Tom's now, he's like, oh, so I'm like started writing my own music, and half of me is like, yes, amazing, I can't wait to hear this, everyone is going to love this, and then half of me is going, please don't leave me. Please don't get too busy to play.
Yeah.
That's fun.
So I mean, we never did really follow the question, which was is there anything in the apart from your new music that's coming out next month, is there anything in the pipeline that you're looking at to possibly, hopefully, be booked on? Or
everything is exactly as you said. It's hopefully, maybe. So I had quite a lot of shows booked for last year. It was looking like a good, and a lot of them were band shows, which was a big thing for me. None of them happened. So we're meant to be playing Buckle and Boots. That got cancelled, and it has been rescheduled for this year, but it's at the end of May. So
chances are
could happen.
Yeah.
Could not.
Yeah.
I think they're obviously hoping and praying that it does go ahead. And they've said, people that couldn't play last year are invited back. I was meant to be playing a show with Jessica Lynn, who's meant to be touring from New York, but that was May. The likelihood of anyone being allowed over from the US by then, no idea. And then I was supposed to be touring with Amelia Quinn, and we had 6 or 7 shows booked, and that was for last April. We still want to do it. We had looked at dates, rebooking for this year, but I think we're going to probably have to push that now. We hadn't even announced the dates. We just kind of had them in the back of our head and a few penciled in.
Yeah.
So that's going to happen.
Just when, we don't know.
We really don't know.
Well, there's some stuff. I mean, at least you've got, people have said, look, when we do this, we've got you penciled in for it, and hopefully. So that's good. There's things on the horizon. Yeah,
definitely. And we have new music now, and it's looking more and more likely that people are going to get to hear the music before they see it played live. So they'll be singing along by the time we get to play, hopefully.
Okay. Well, look, it's been really good talking to you. I've really enjoyed our chat, and we're going to play, or you're going to play. I'm just going to sit back and watch. You're going to play your current single. Yeah.
So Waiting for You is a straight up heartbreak song, and they've kind of become a little bit of my speciality. I think they're the songs I've written the best, and they're the songs I love to perform the most. If I can get people crying at a show, honestly, it makes me so happy, which I'm sure a therapist or two would probably tell me that's an awful thing, but at least it's the truth. I just think that means you've really connected with someone, and they've really understood your story, and they've gone to a place in their own memory. But yeah, Waiting for You, it really is exactly what it says on the tin. It's like, oh, you get a crush, you don't say anything, and they find someone else, and you're like, cool, okay.
And we've all been there.
Exactly. It's so universal. So I started it really in the moment, and then I took a few months to finish it. But I'm glad I finished it when I started my master's. And I think that space is actually what makes the song a little bit more special, because it's able to, when you get to the end of it, it's like, I'm not hoping that she breaks your heart. I'm not waiting for you to break up. I'm not wishing anything bad for you. And I don't think I would have said or felt anything quite that similar, like right in that moment. I think I'd be like, well, I hope you break up, and I hope you're dead miserable. And, those initial kind of things that those instant reactions. But I think when you have that time to actually really think about it, that's when the nicer side of it comes out. So I'm glad that I finished it kind of when I did.
Well, thank you very much for today. Like I say, it's been a real pleasure talking to you. Good luck with the EP. And, maybe we'll talk to you again soon, and maybe even when all this is over, you can come down to our studios in London. And
Yeah, that'd
really
be
good
lovely.
to do a real live gig and chat.
We'll do a musical special.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yes.
Yes.
I'll hold you to that.
Okay,
I'll
so
have,
so
I'll have
down.
to speak to the others. They usually only let me do country music, but yeah, I could introduce a
I
new.
can country it up.
I could introduce a new thread through Alpha Sessions.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Emma. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Holding on tight to the breath in my chest. It's the only thing keeping me up. I can let go. I know I will cry and I won't be able to stop. I should be able to fake a smile. Heartbreakers draw me when there's no disguising these feelings I'm fighting. Well, look and I know you can tell. I'll be waiting for you. I'll be waiting for you. But you sit beside me and you're so excited 'cause you're loving somebody new. And no idea that I was waiting for you. Don't look too closely, I want you to stay in the dark when it comes in my life. I'm happy for you, I know you've been waiting to finally find someone. Deep down I know that she's probably better for you than I ever could be. But just for a second I feel my heart breaking. I'm desperate for you not to see. I'll be waiting for you. I'll be waiting for you. But you sit beside me and you're so excited 'cause you're loving somebody new. And no idea that I was waiting for you. And I'm so sorry I hesitated. I could have been the one. I won't be hoping that she breaks your heart. But if it happens, just know I'll be waiting for you. I'll be waiting for you. If you sit beside me and